Amazing facts about Antarctica. Antarctica is the coldest, windiest, driest continent on the planet, and researchers are still discovering many of its secrets. Find out some of the most interesting facts about the southernmost continent. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was minus 128.56 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 89.2 degrees Celsius, registered on July 21, 1983 at Antarctica's Vostok station. It's seriously dry. The dry valleys of Antarctica are the driest place on Earth, with low humidity and almost no snow or ice cover. There's a lot of winds. On average, Antarctica is the windiest continent. Winds in some places of the continent can reach 2000 mph, 320 km per hour. It's a big place. Antarctica is the fifth largest continent. There's lots of ice. The Antarctica ice sheet is the largest single mass of ice on Earth. Antarctica is an icy land. Roughly 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice. It stores a lot of fresh water. Antarctica is home to about 60% of the planet's fresh water, and 90% of its freshwater ice is melting. If the West Antarctica ice sheet melted entirely, it would raise global average sea. It would raise global average sea level by 16 feet or 5 meters. According to some estimates, the ice is thick. The average thickness of Antarctica ice is about 1.3 miles or 2.1 kilometers. It's bigger than the US, including its island and attached floating plains of ice. Antarctica has an area of about 5.4 million square miles or 14 million square kilometers, about 1.5 times the size of the United States. The Ross ice shelf is the largest. The largest of Antarctica's ice shelves, floating tanks of ice, is the Ross ice shelf, which measures some 1,82,000 square miles or 4,72,000 square kilometers. There are buried mountains. Antarctica's gumboot-shaped mountains are a range of steep peaks that rise to nearly 9,000 feet or 3,000 meters and stretch 750 miles or 1,200 kilometers across the interior of the continent, and are completely buried under up to 15,750 feet or 4,800 meters ice. A lake is hidden under ice. Also hiding under the Antarctica ice is an interlake. Lake Vostok is a pristine freshwater lake buried beneath 2.5 miles or 3.7 kilometers of solid ice. It is about the size of Lake Ontario and is the largest of the more than 200 liquid lakes strewn around the continent under the ice. A rift could rivet the Grand Canyon. A rift that could rival the Grand Canyon was discovered beneath the Antarctica ice during an expedition conducted during 2009 to 2010. It is roughly 6 miles or 10 kilometers across and at least 62 miles or 100 kilometers long, possibly far longer if it extends into the sea. It extends nearly a mile down, 1.5 kilometers at its deepest. There's a great divide. The Transantarctic Mountains divide the continent into east and west section at 2,000 miles or 3,200 kilometers long. The Transantarctic Range is one of the longest mountain ranges on Earth. Vinson Massif is Antarctica's highest point. The highest point on Antarctica is the Vinson Massif at 16,050 feet or 4,892 meters. It has an active volcano. Antarctica is home to Mount Erebus, the southernmost active volcano on the planet, and home to some of Earth's only long-lived lava. It was discovered by accident The existence of Antarctica was unknown to Westerns until the continent was first spotted in 1820. It wasn't until 20 years later that it was confirmed to be a continent and not just a group of islands. However, recent research suggests Pacific islanders may have found the southernmost continent 1100 years before that. Roald Amundsen was first to the South Pole. Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen was the first human to reach the South Pole. He beat out English explorer Robert Falcon Scott by arriving on December 14, 1911 and planting the Norwegian flag. The continent is dedicated to peaceful research. The Antarctic Treaty was signed on December 1, 1959 after more than a year of secret negotiation by 12 countries. It dedicates the continent to peaceful research activities. 48 nations have now signed the treaty. There's research galore. Nearly 30 countries operate more than 80 research stations around the continent. According to 2009 numbers from the Council of Managers of National Antarctic Programs, it's occupied year-round. There is a year-round presence of researchers on Antarctica, peaking a more than 5,000 in the prime summer research season and falling to around 1,000 in the winter season. It's uninhabited. There are no indigenous populations of people on Antarctica. Children are born in Antarctica. In January 1979, Emil Marco Palma becomes the first child born on the southernmost continent. Argentina sent Palma's pregnant mother to Antarctica in an effort to claim a portion of the continent. More have been born since. Felicity Aston skied across Antarctica. British explorer and meteorologist Felicity Aston was the first person ever to ski across Antarctica powered only by human muscle. She traveled 1,084 miles or 1,744 kilometers in 59 days between late 2011 and early 2012. It's a tourist site. In 2011, nearly 20,000 tourists visit the Antarctic Peninsula. According to the International Association of Antarctica Tour Operations, Antarctica has some dark nights, like the Arctic to the north. Most of Antarctica is completely dark during the region's winter months because of Earth tilt. During the austral winter, the sun disappears below the horizon for the duration of winter. From the autumnal to the vernal equinox in summer months, it's a haven of sunlight. During the summer month, when the sun is constantly above the horizon, more sunlight reaches the surface at the South Pole than over a similar period of time at the equator. According to the CIA World Factbook, Antarctica has a unique location. Antarctica lies almost entirely within the Antarctic Circle, which is at about 66 degrees south latitude. The Manatort worm is Antarctica's most abundant land animal. The most abundant land animal on Antarctica is not the penguin, but the teeny nematode worm. Penguins populate the continent. Penguins are the most common bird in Antarctica and live in colonies with populations that would rival some cities. According to the British Antarctic Survey, male penguins stays on Antarctica through winter. The male emperor penguin is the only warm-blooded animal that remains on the Antarctic continent through the winter. It stays to nest on the single egg laid by its mate. The female spends 9 weeks at sea and returns in time for the E2 has there's a lack of diversity. The soil of most of the extreme cold deserts of Antarctica are the least diverse habitat Earth in terms of fauna, according to the British Antarctic Survey.